Hey guys, how's it going? How's it going? Today I wanted to make a sort of different video from my usual Yu-Gi-Oh content, talking about Dragon's Dogma 2, which released yesterday. So this is a game that I was pretty passionate about because I really enjoyed the first one, but there's been some issues with it, as some of you might know if you keep up with gaming very much or at all. But Dragon's Dogma 2 released, and it's come with a few issues, mostly involving the PC port. The PC port was not very good, with the inclusion of de novo in a single-player game, as well as a bunch of like frame rate issues across console and PC. There's even speculation about there being an Nvidia issue. Thankfully I have AMD, so I haven't had any problems really, but some of the things that I wanted to go over today were the microtransactions, as well as the PC port, and what's going on in the online space. Pretty much people are clowning on Capcom for the inclusion of microtransactions in a single-player game, which I think there are two sides to the argument for this, because if anybody played Dragon's Dogma 1, those microtransactions, which are very like minimal stuff, like things from buying a campfire kit for like 99 cents or a jail key to get yourself out of jail for 99 cents, or I guess technically $1, and then it ranges up to things like changing your character appearance or add-on DLC for maybe cosmetics or something like that. But all of this stuff was in Dragon's Dogma 1, and I feel like a lot of the argument is from people who didn't play Dragon's Dogma 1 and don't really understand that all of these microtransactions are A, for convenience, or A, to be lazy. So all the stuff that you can buy as microtransactions for the game are stuff that you can also just earn in the game. Because that's how Dragon's Dogma 1 was. You can completely ignore all of the microtransactions. The only reason they're really there is for lazy people, or I suppose for people who don't have the time to grind. And I say grind, but there really isn't a grind for that type of currency. You get it by default through very random and easy ways, like from killing monsters to opening chests, doing quests, things like that. So I think that shifting the conversation away from that part is a good idea, because those microtransactions literally are fucking worthless, to put it lightly. If you don't support it, just don't spend money on it. They've been there since the first game. They're probably not going to go away, because the same director that directed this game also directed Dragon's Dogma 1 and also directed Devil May Cry 5. And every single game he's worked on, at least so far, those microtransactions have been in them. They've been in Devil May Cry 5, they've been in Dragon's Dogma 1, they're in Dragon's Dogma 2. So it's just something that it adds nothing to the conversation to shit on the game for something that doesn't really affect it all too much. The only thing it affects are people who are either lazy or don't have the time to sit and like maybe go out into the wild and play the game, I guess, is how I would put it. So let's shift the conversation to the actual PC port. Now, the PC port, it's rumored to be an issue with Nvidia. Not really an issue with Nvidia, but maybe like Nvidia needs an update to their graphics cards or something. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked a whole lot into that side of the conversation. But for anybody who doesn't know or didn't know until now, the game has de novo DRM in it, which is essentially an anti-tamper software. So if you try to mess with your files in any way, de novo will catch that, and it will pretty much just lock you out of the game. Or this becomes a problem because this is a single player game, so why the actual fuck is de novo DRM in here? But the easy explanation is that Capcom doesn't want you to mod your game, which is stupid beyond belief. For the past like year or two, or maybe it's been 3 years now, Capcom has been very against modding your game, even if it's for just single player purposes. And I guess Denuvo DRM is kind of just their way to start combating that now for some reason. They really need to be careful with this because people are going to start calling them Crapcom again if they delve too deep into the abyss, you know? But outside of Denuvo, which is obviously not only tanking the game's performance, but it's also anti-consumer because it's a single-player game, so let people do what they want with it. There's also the fact that the game itself is just poorly optimized. There are so many NPCs and so much stuff, especially in the open world, that you're gonna play the game and you're gonna be like, why is my game running like dog shit? And one of the solutions that some people have come up with is just killing NPCs, which I find hilarious. Because for each NPC you kill, that's a couple frames back to your frame rate. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the anti-consumer practices that Capcom are, you know, investing in. And me, myself, I'm having a pretty good time with the game, personally. I haven't had any issues because I'm on an AMD, and I guess my computer is just built different. But yeah, this is very, very bad PC launch. Now, the Dragon's Dogma Twitter did make a statement about the state of the game at the moment. And as far as crashes and bug fixes go, they said that they're investigating and they're going to be fixing critical problems such as crashes and freezes. All this you can find on the Steam store news for the game, I'm pretty sure. And they're also going to be adding a way to start a new game, because at the moment, on Steam at least, I don't know if this is the same for console, but on Steam, in order to start a new game, you have to go into your files, and you have to delete your save game from there. The issue with that is, for some people, Denuvo is preventing you from doing that by just straight out, like, blocking you from playing the game if you tamper with your files. And for other people, they'll delete their files, and then they'll start the game, but the Steam cloud will just overwrite it again. Hopefully they fix that. That was like, I was like, Jesus Christ, Capcom, what is happening, man? But yeah, pretty much Dragon's Dogma 2, good game that is unfortunately being overshadowed by a very poor and unfortunate release, mostly because of Capcom leaning into anti-consumer practices. So I'm hoping that it all gets hashed out. I'm personally having a really good time with the game, and I don't think that these things should dissuade you from playing it. I still think it's an excellent game. The microtransactions are just there, you can ignore them, it does not matter. It's just like Helldivers 2, you can ignore the microtransactions. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys later.